So today we're talking about forms. So when you're working with forms, you want to make sure that you are taking that tab out of the center, stick it onto the back of that form. And then you're going to pinch that form together nice and even with those two little silver tabs. The reason for that is because when you get that form on there, if those two little silver tabs are shifted, what's going to happen is your form is going to go on crooked. Maybe you're not really paying attention to how you're putting that form together and you kind of stick it together like that. You can see that's way off. It's not very straight. So when you go to put that under the nail and you go to put your product on there, that product is going to be slightly shifted, okay? There's a darker silver line right down the center. That's going to show you again where your center point is on that form. If you have that form that's shifted, you're going to be able to see that it's just off a little bit. It's not right down the center of the form where it needs to be. Now we know how to start our forms. How do we apply them actually to the nail? What we actually want to do is clip down as much of that free edge as possible. We don't want to go all the way to that hyponychium, but we want to take down a little bit of that natural nail so that we don't have a lot of that nail extended out. Take down that free edge a little bit. Putting on a form, that's kind of what you're going to be doing most of the time. Okay, and again, to do that, we're going to take our form, we're going to take that little tab, stick that on the back. Again, we're going to pinch that form together nice and even so our silver tabs come together perfectly even. And I'm going to open up this little tab on the back. There's a little perforation back there, okay? You want to open that up so that you have a little bit more room to put that on your client. Now, when you go to put that form on, I'm going to open up that little back end. I'm going to come underneath that nail. And we're just going to lift up on the end so that that form comes straight out from that natural nail. And I'm going to secure it on the sides here. Okay, I'm going to hold that there. And I tend to like to pinch in a little bit on the sides here. I'm going to over exaggerate this so you guys can see a little bit. But you want to make sure that you see how it's a little bit wider right through here. So when it gets a little wider right through here, you're never going to get that really nice tight C curve. So what I like to do is I just come from kind of underneath and really make sure that those come together underneath. So it really forms more of a tube instead of more flared out, okay? Now, when you get that form on, it should be coming straight out from that natural nail. You don't want that form to be angled downward. You don't want it to be angled upward. So if you get that form on and it's angled downward, you're going to have a little bit of a gap right in between that natural nail and that form. That's where you're going to get a little bit of product buildup underneath the nail, and it's not going to give you proper structure to your nail. Now on the opposite end, if you put your form on and it's going at an upward angle, again, that's not going to give you the proper structure and shape of a standard nail. Okay, so again, making sure that that form comes straight out from that free edge, nice and even. Okay. The other thing that I see a lot of people that they want to do, we've got these little tabs in the back here. So many people want to stick them down and secure them like that. But what can happen is if you don't leave that top part open and she goes to bend her finger, what's going to happen is that's actually going to pop it away underneath. Just secure on the sides. Leave that open so she can bend and move her finger, and you can move her finger as needed. And it's not going to pop that form or make it shift. One more thing about getting your form on in position correctly. I want to make sure that that silver line is straight with their finger. Okay, so straight in line with their finger, not necessarily the nail, because some people's nails are shifted off to the side. They kind of curve off to the side a little bit. So if we can line that form up straight with that finger, that's going to ensure that our whole set of nails is going to look straight. Okay, what happens if you have somebody who might be a nail biter? We're going to take that same form, we're going to take that same little center tab out of the middle, and now we're going to take a look at that logo that's on there. We got our little YN logo on there. I'm going to cut right straight across the center of the logo, and I'm going to bring that into the middle of that form. So now that's going to give us a little bit more surface area to put right flush up to that nail biter nail. Now I can just get that form right up to that nail biter nail. What about our square free edge or a square or a really tight C curve. Okay, this works really good for those clients that have that square nail bed, their hyponychium kind of goes straight across, or those people that have a really tight C curve. This is a technique that's going to work good for both of those. So we're going to do the same kind of thing that we did for our nail biter, but we're not going to cut quite as much of that logo off. I'm actually going to just cut right across the top of the logo. Again, set that little tab off to the side. And this one, we're just going to overlap just a little bit, just enough to give us a little bit more square right at that edge. And now we can get that right up underneath that square nail. Okay, rock it up, and then it's going to fit flush up underneath that square nail or that really tight C curve. What if we have a client who has an extended hyponychium? Pinch those two edges together, open up here. But now what I'm going to do, and you can actually do this while it's still on the form, I'll show you that way too, but I like to do it once I've already got it pinched, is I'm just going to come in here, I'm going to cut a little tiny V shape right up to that bold line down the center. Get that little triangle cleaned out of there. So now that little V shape is going to fit right around that hyponychium that's underneath the nail. Okay, it's not going to poke in there at all. It's going to feel nice and comfortable because it's around that hyponychium. It's not poking into it. Okay, now if you want to do that while the form is still on the paper, or before you've actually pinched it, you can do that as well. And then just come in and cut your little tab or your little V shape out of there. And then you can go ahead and pinch and open up the top. Now there is one style of nail where you are not going to be able to fit a tip on, and that would be an extra wide nail. Now we're going to take two forms and we're going to customize them to fit on our extra wide nail. We're going to take our first form, I'm going to tear these in half. I'm going to leave these on the paper at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the center line down the middle. I'm going to count to the right 1, 2, 3 lines. I'm going to cut straight back that third line all the way back. We're going to do the same thing with the other form, but we're going to go on the opposite side. So 1, 2, 3 over to the side here. And I actually like to turn it around just because it's easier for me to hold in my hand. But again, making sure that we're at 1, 2, 3, cut there, and I'm just going to turn it around to make it easier to cut. Okay, so again, straight down that way. Again, we're going to throw that little piece away. Now we've got two of our forms here. We're going to put these two together. So now I'm going to take one form. I'm going to leave that little tab on our paper for now. We're going to still use that, so don't throw that away just yet. We're going to take our second form, same thing, leave your tab on your paper. Now I'm going to take those two forms and I'm going to look at where that center line is on one form here, okay? And I'm going to take the edge of my second form, I'm going to line that up to my bold line down the center, making sure the bottom parts are even together as well. We're going to adhere those together just like that. So one on top of the other there. Now I'm going to turn that over. You're still going to use your two little tabs here on the back because that's going to again give you that little bit more firmness to your form, but it's also going to keep those forms adhered together. We're going to take our scissors. We're going to clip out those little devil horns. And then you can also peel away that center section through the top. Okay, so now we have a form that would fit on an extra wide thumbnail. This could also be used if you're trying to sculpt out a toenail, because again, those large toenails, they're not going to fit on a regular form. So this is going to fit right up to those large extra wide nails. Okay, you can still come in and customize if for some reason maybe the client still has that extended hyponychium. You could cut in a little bit more of a V shape. You could cut a little bit more of a rounded shape. So you can still customize this, but by putting those two forms together, it's going to give you that extra wide space in that connection area. Okay. What happens if you have a client that wants an extra long nail? Okay. longer than what this form is going to give you. Now, if these are what you have on hand, you can definitely use these and customize them for an extra long nail. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 forms and I'm going to cut off pretty much that whole top area. Okay, I'm going to take my second form, leave that tab on there for just real quick here. This one, I'm going to just set right at the end there. Again, making sure my 2 bold lines are lined up. Again, we're going to use that center tab, connect those 2 forms so that they stay together, and then we're going to use our other tab just again to give us a little bit more structure through that form. So now if you've got a client that's wanting those extra long nails, you can create extra long nails. Okay. Now, to make your life even easier, we do have extra long forms. And these are going to be kind of similar. You can customize, you can create those extended hyponychiums, you can do for a nail biter. I do want to show you something really cool though. With these forms, it has that little tab in the center. So you're going to have that rounded part there, but it does already have a square edge. So if you're trying to create a form for those nail biters or for those square nails, you can again just stick that right to the back like we did before, and you've already got that nice and easy. You don't have to cut it, you don't have to customize it that way. You just put it on the form nice and easy. All right, so again, with these forms, you guys, there's a couple of different contact areas that you want to focus on. So again, looking at that form from the side, you want to make sure that this part and this part are meeting up, and this part and this part are meeting up. Because sometimes if this part gets evenly together, you may end up squeezing a different section a little bit off, okay? So make sure that you're squeezing both together at the same time so that you get those both together nice and even. Can you use these for shorter nails? Absolutely. Okay, you notice on there, we've got the numbers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you can build that nail all the way out, or you can also see we have those numbers, we have lines, and then we also have more of those V shapes for stiletto nails. So you can actually pinch your form a little bit shorter so that you can create shorter nails. Now, if you are somebody who you've got these forms, but you want to use it on a shorter nail, you can still put it on a shorter nail. What I like to do, once I get that form on there, I like to come in and just clip off that extra, okay? It also may be easier or may be helpful to clip off right down below there. Again, if you're gonna be putting that into the light, it's just gonna be one less thing that your client has to bump their nails on. So again, you guys, we have our regular traditional forms, we have our extra long forms, so you can use both of these for any style of nail that you want. All you have to do is a little bit of customizing.